for real. For real. Just give me a chance. I'll make it up to you. Give me a chance. I'll prove this world was wrong. Give me a chance. I'll make it up to you. I'll teach the world a lesson. They will never let you go. Give me a chance. That's the song for the 6D2, man. For real. Trust. Okay. The 6D2 2-month review. The worst camera ever made by Canon. No, that's clickbait, right? That's a clickbait. That's a clickbait thing. And you know I'm not good at clickbait, so I was toying with the idea of using that as a title. The Canon 6D2, the worst Canon ever. Except it ain't. It's not. It's a pretty good camera. And I've been enjoying it, but I haven't actually done a proper, well, not review, but kind of like overview of my experiences with, or since upgrading to the 6D2 from the 70D, which is actually gone back and is filming this as we speak, you know. 6D2 took over from the 70D. 70D has been resting, or is now a B camera, ever since the arrival of this baby, the 6D2. And there's been a lot of hatred for this camera ever since it came out. And it's put a lot of people off, I guess. Well, some people's been put off, but I always wanted it ever since I heard about it. And the thing with Canon cameras, their pricing is all wrong. That's really, for me, one of the main issues with them. Their pricing is just way too high. So I find if you wait a bit, you know, like with the EOS R that's out at the moment, it's a great camera. The price is just too high. So it kind of like makes it not seem like a great camera. And I think they did the same thing with this 6D2 here. So anyway, I've had it for 2 months and I got this camera to shoot events. That was the reason I got it. And I'm a firm believer in horses for courses. So the different cameras serve different purposes. I got my M50 down here, which is my street Canon, yeah? Street shooter Canon, street photography Canon. I have a 5D 2 over here, which is like my general purpose, but portrait Canon. If I'm gonna do portraits, this is the camera I'd be grabbing up. Even though it's an old machine, images of it, beautiful. But it's my general purpose Canon, yeah? Does most things, almost everything, pretty well. Over there you might be able to see my 7D, which is my wildlife and sports action Canon, yeah? None of these were new. The M50 is the only one I bought new. The rest of them I bought used because of the same thing that I was telling you about, Canon with their crazy pricing structure, scheme, strategy, whatever it is. I've got the 70Ds, which were for filming until the 6D2 came and took over from the 70s. So this is my filming stroke events camera now. And if you have that kind of approach where each camera is kind of tailored to a specific type of shooting or thing, then it kind of works out. And I know you shouldn't have to do that. You know, most people want one camera that can do everything, but that doesn't exist. The perfect camera don't exist. So in doing it this way, you get, I think, more closer to, dare I say, perfection than trying to get the one camera fits all thing. And if you buy your gear used, they end up not spending a bundle, because all this gear here together that I've just shown you, a new 5D Mark IV is still more than all this gear, which is kind of ridiculous. But hey, it is what it is. Anyway, I wanted to talk a bit about the 6D2 because I haven't really talked about it since I've gotten it, and I just want to let you all know about how I found it since using it. And the main reason that I upgraded from the 70D was because this is a full frame and you can get more in that frame in a closer distance. I was having problems in events, you know, trying to get the wide angle shot that I need at times. So that's where this came in. And it does a great job. It does a great job. Not really good at doing reviews, but the build quality, let's start with the build quality. It is what you would expect from a Canon DSLR. It is tough. Maybe not as tough as a 5D Mark II, but it is tough. You could fling it at somebody. If they upset you, not condoning violence on this channel, but you could fling it at somebody and it would probably survive. The lens would probably bust more quicker than the body. Having said that, I've got a 20-year-old 35, which is metal, this tough old beast. Them new lenses like these, 1635, which is kind of toughened plastic, probably would not last or would not survive the kind of impact these old lenses would, which is one of the reasons why I like the old lenses too. But yeah, the focusing on this 6D2, the focusing points are close in the middle, and that's one of the bugbears I hear a lot of people talk about. And it is kind of annoying, but on a 5D, on a 5D Mark II with 9 focusing points, this is virtually the same. Yeah, it is virtually the same. I do focus and recompose. You know, we focus your point and you recompose if it's outside of that central framing focusing points, and I haven't had any problems with it. I love there's got a little focus select button right at the front there. Can you see that? Right near the shutter. So you can just quickly press this button and scroll through the different focus areas, which is just perfect. The 70D has it, the 5D2 doesn't have it. I think the 7D has it as well. So if you've got any of these old DSLRs, it just fits in really nicely, and that's what you really want. The focusing on this is just amazingly fast. It is quick. And one of the benefits of having those focusing points closer together, I found with fast moving objects and sports, one of the bugbears with the 7D I had, the focusing points were so far apart that birds could fly between them and it would trick the lens. So this Sigma lens would kind of like hunt. It knew something was there, but because what I was focusing on was so small, it could evade the radar, you know? You know, like in war films you hear, we're sending in the small planes so you could evade the radar. That's what happens on the 7D Mark I. But because the focusing points on the 6D2 are really packed tight, you ain't getting away with it. Tiny birds are not getting away with it. I found that I can really, when I put that lens on here, and I put the 70-200 on the 6D2, focusing is fast. It doesn't hunt at all. It just goes straight to it and locks on. I thought it was a problem with the lens. I was thinking of getting rid of that lens to upgrade to the Canon one, because sometimes when I press my back button focus, it just, and by the time it focuses, it's gone. Not on this. It locks and it's away. So the 6D2 really trounces the 7D Mark I. I'm trying to say it quietly so 7D doesn't hear. But I'm telling you, this really could replace the 7D Mark I. And I know the 7D Mark I is getting a bit old now, so maybe the 7D Mark II probably does a better job. I don't know. But this, the focusing, the tight focusing points are really great. The focus select button on the front near the shutter, which most people should be used to by now. So it ain't no thing. It's not no, you know, it's not a revolution. It's not an EOS R revolution. Shouldn't have said that, should I? Anyway, what else? What else? What else? What else? One of the gripes that I've got written, I've got some notes down here, which is why I'm looking down here, is on the back, when you preview images and you zoom, there's a magnifying glass where you can zoom, although you don't really need to do that because you can just pinch the screen and just blow it up big and it's perfect. But there's a magnifying glass that you press, and on all other Canons, when you press the magnifying glass button and you press it again, it makes the image go bigger every time you press it. It doesn't work like that on this, and it just, why did you change it, Canon? You know, all the other DSLRs that I've got, you press the magnifying button and it boosts the picture, makes it bigger, makes it bigger, makes it bigger. On this one, if you press the magnifying button, it makes it active. If you press it again, it deactivates it. So the picture doesn't get bigger. What you have to do is press the magnifying button and scroll the wheel to make it get bigger. And I just think that, I don't know why they changed it. It's just annoying. I find it annoying. It takes a while to get used to. And if you're shooting events with a 5D2 and a 6D2, it will just annoy you. I found it really annoying because you forget and then you... But that's a minor gripe, I guess. It's a minor gripe. What's the other gripe? I've got two gripes written down here. The audio levels. When you connect audio, like I've got my lav mic on here with my Rode video, connect it in here, same like the 70D. I just find the audio is just a bit sensitive. It seems to overdrive easily. So even though I'm watching the meters like I'm watching them now on the 70D, I'm watching the needles and then, you know, they stay safely in the green. When you do that on the 6D2, or when I do that on the 6D2, because it could be just this machine, I still found it distorting somewhat in some of the previous episodes that I've done. And the meter is showing that it's not distorting. So I don't know if it's just this machine. It might be just this machine, but it's something that's a gripe I've got here. The body's really light in comparison to, say, 5D2. It is, you know, it feels comfortable in your hand. Canon ergonomics is tip-top. Everybody knows about Canon ergonomics. You know, fingers fit nicely on. It's a DSLR. It's nice and big, nice and chunky. It's actually, I don't know if this is true. I saw it somewhere that the EOS R with the adapter on is actually heavier than this. It feels nice in the hand. You could carry it around without too much problems. It's just a nice shaped body, a nice shaped, nicely balanced with the lenses, you know. When you constantly rocking a EOS M, oftentimes the lenses make it front heavy, unless you're using something like this, the 50mm, which is perfectly balanced, plastic fantastic. And you know, admittedly, I'm using this a lot more than any other of my cameras now. So when I go back to something like this, it does feel big, but it feels nice in the hand, you know, it's really comfortable. The JPEGs out of this, I think I spoke a bit about this before. The JPEGs are stunning. The quality of the JPEGs out of the 6D2. You know, I shoot RAW and JPEG, you know. Always shoot RAW, that's what we're told. But with this camera, I'm reconsidering that now. That JPEGs are so good. I mean, just like the EOS M, actually. I only shoot JPEGs on this. Don't shoot RAW on this at all. If you just shoot JPEGs using the 6D2, it's actually faster because you don't have to mess around in post, getting balancing everything. If you can get it right in the camera, this is the new way I'm finding that I'm shooting now because of the 6D2. If you can get it right in the camera, you know, the white balance and exposure and everything, saves you a whole load of time because the JPEGs are stunning. The raw files don't look as good as the 5D2 for whatever reason. But if you got the JPEGs right, then you don't need to go into that, into all that raw. So I'm finding I'm saving a lot of time by shooting JPEGs, yeah? And of course, the shutter sound. Listen to this, listen to this. It sounds great. I just love the sound of the shutter. Compared to a 5D2, listen to this. Sounds like a sewing machine or something. It might be something small, but it's not small to me. You know, the sound of the shutter does something. It is all part of the experience of taking photos. It's, you know, the sound of the M50 shutter. It's not that nice. It's a bit machiney, plasticky. Doesn't even sound like a camera, really. It might be a small thing to you, but to me, it's important. You know, I just love the feel and the sound and the experience, the whole experience when using the 6D2. So, yeah, what can I say? I'm loving the 6D2. It's full frame. For some of you that have been shooting crop and, you know, it's always in the back of your mind, or was in the back of my mind when I was shooting crop all the time when I had my 70s and my 60Ds. What's it like to go full frame? It's a nice experience. It is a different way of viewing the world. And whenever I go back from my M50 to the 60, I always fall back in love with full frame, which is another reason why the EOS R is still in the back of my mind. It's still in the corner of my mind because I want to bring that full frame experience to street level. But the EOS M is hard to beat. You know, it's hard to beat. The size, the weight, it's hard to beat. The price. And it's the same with the 6D2. It's the price now, even you know, even a new one, even new, the price has been dropped. I didn't get this new, I got this used, so it was even less, you know. So if you are thinking about going full frame, look at the 6D2. Do not go by what people have been talking about online and people cursing and complaining about whatever it is they're complaining. Try this thing out. You may be surprised. I think you will be surprised. It is a very good camera. It's an extremely good camera, and I think it needs to be given a chance. Zoom. Give me a chance, I'll make it up to you. Give me a chance, I'll prove this world was wrong. Oh yeah, don't forget, we have zines available. Second edition of Waiting to Exhale. Get your copy. So message me down below and we can get you a copy of our 16-page full color zine. A lot of the images were actually taken with the 6D2. So experience the 6D2 in the real. Give me a chance, I'll make it up to you.